I want people to remember, Mr. Secretary, you're a Democrat, Judge Luttig, you're a Republican, and you're working together on this. This is very bipartisan. Judge Luttig, we will all remember when you testified before the January 6th Commission and you called Donald Trump, quote, a clear and present danger to American democracy. He is now 3 times indicted, potentially 4. He is by far the Republican frontrunner. Do you think he is still a clear and present danger to American democracy?
I do, Poppy, more so today than he was last summer when I testified before the Congress of the United States for these obvious reasons. The former president has continued to insist and persist in his false claim that he had won the 2020 presidential election and that it was stolen from him. And his Republican allies and the Republican Party have joined him in that persistent claim to this day. So for the 2.5 years since January 6th, these false claims have corrupted American democracy. They've corrupted American elections, and they've corrupted the perception of the American people in America herself. This must come to a conclusion, and the trials of the former president now will become, together with the events of January 6th, the singular, infamous events in American history, whereby a former president of the United States, for the first time in American history, is prosecuted and tried for grave offenses against the United States of America, at the same time that he is running again for the presidency of the United States as the presumptive Republican nominee for the presidency.
Judge, you told our colleague Jamie Gangel after the latest indictment came down last week, these are as grave offenses against the United States as a president could commit, save possibly treason. Just to remind our viewers, you are a conservative's conservative. Trump is winning by a mile in the polls. Republican officials are lining up behind him. What do you think has happened to your party?
I'm not a political person, Poppy, and frankly, I don't care about the Republican Party at all, except to the extent that the two political parties in America are the political guardians of democracy in our country. American democracy simply cannot function without two equally healthy and equally strong political parties. So today, in my view, there is no Republican Party to counter the Democratic Party in the country. And for that reason, American democracy is in grave peril.
There is no Republican Party?
In my view, and let me explain, Poppy. A political party is a collection and assemblage of individuals who share a set of beliefs and principles and policy views about the United States of America. Today, there is no such shared set of beliefs and values and principles or even policy views within the Republican Party for America until or unless the Republican Party can pull itself together into a credible Republican party, political party, then we simply don't have two competing parties in America.
Secretary Johnson, when we look at the polling here, it is very disheartening. So few Americans actually trust our elections. Only 42% are even somewhat confident in them. And the numbers are even worse when you look at how Republicans feel. Can we turn that around?
I certainly hope so, Poppy. I'm an optimist about this country. I'd like to make the point that this task force, the work we'll be doing is about far more than Donald Trump, though he was the one that really lit the match for the conflagration on January 6th. But the work we're going to be doing is going to be strictly bipartisan, by people who care about our democracy, care about our country, want to see the maximum voter participation, and want to see Americans have confidence in the importance of their vote and the importance of our democracy. And we're going to do that, Democrat or Republican, on a strictly bipartisan basis, because we want the American public to have confidence in the work we do and the report we're going to issue.
Yeah, it's really foundational to our still young democracy, right? They call it the American experiment, and we have to work together to uphold it. Before you go, Judge Luttig, to you, we have heard some central claims by Trump's legal team after this most recent indictment that looks like the defense that they're going to present in court. They're going to make a First Amendment claim. This was all speech. They're going to say he just relied on advice of counsel, so he did nothing wrong, and that he truly believed that he won. And therefore, it's all okay and it's all legal. What do you think?
Poppy, the special counsel, Jack Smith, had anticipated that the former president would claim the First Amendment in defense of the charges against him. And as a consequence, Jack Smith brought charges that against the former president that would not allow for a First Amendment defense. And he did that in this way. The former president now stands charged with criminal offenses of conduct. The indictment makes crystal clear that the former president was not being charged in any way whatsoever with his speech. That is, his calls for the march on the Capitol and all of the multitude of other speech acts that he committed on January 6th and even before then. The way to think of it, the way I think of it, Poppy, is that the other offense for which the former president could have been charged, and many thought he might be charged, was with insurrection against the United States of America. That would have entailed, at least potentially, a charge involving the president's speech. But Jack Smith chose not to bring that particular charge under 18 U.S.C. Section 2383, most likely to avoid the First Amendment claim that the president was going to make to begin with. As to the advice of counsel defense, Poppy, of course, standing alone, any defendant would have that potential defense. But in this particular case, for reasons that we won't go into here, that defense will not carry the day for the former president.
And knowingly that he thought he won?
Neither will that claim
Okay.
prevent a conviction, Poppy, because the evidence is overwhelming that the former president knew full well that he had lost the election, and the standard will be, could a reasonable person have believed otherwise in the face of the overwhelming evidence to the contrary?
Judge Michael Luttig, Secretary Jeh Johnson, thank you not only for your time this morning, thank you for committing your time to this task force, which is so important for this country. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Poppy.
You're welcome.